Have you ever looked at a .NET developer roadmap? You know those giant charts with a million boxes and arrows pointing everywhere? My first time seeing one, I just thought, there is no way I have to learn all of this just to get started. It honestly feels impossible. So if you've ever felt that same kind of panic, like you're already behind before you even begin, then this is for you. We're about to toss that old map out and draw a new one, a realistic one. And this quote right here from the incomplete developer just hits the nail on the head. Those massive, all-encompassing roadmaps, they aren't just intimidating, they're kind of dishonest. They set you up to fail. So is it really any surprise that so many people get overwhelmed and just give up? I mean, when the map you're using leads you straight off a cliff, what else are you supposed to do? Okay, we've all agreed the old maps are broken. They lead to analysis paralysis, not actual progress. So the big question is, what's the alternative? How do you actually navigate the huge world of .NET development without getting completely lost? Well, it starts not with writing code, but with a totally different way of thinking about learning. Let's chart this new course together. So here's our game plan. First, we're going to install a new mindset. Then we'll build a rock-solid foundation with C#. After that, we'll teach our app how to actually talk to the world using APIs and data. Then we'll zoom out and look at how real-world systems are designed. And crucially, we'll get your work out there for people to see. And finally, we'll talk about the real secret, how to turn all this into a career you actually love. All right, section 1, rethinking the developer roadmap. Look, before you even type console.writeline, you have to get this part right. This is a mental shift that separates the developers who really thrive from those who just end up spinning their wheels. Trust me, it changes the entire game. So here's the radical idea. In the very beginning, code less. I know, that sounds completely backwards, right? But instead of trying to master a for loop on day one, you first build a mental map. You learn the vocabulary. What is a web API? What does a database actually do? How do they connect? Think of it like learning to cook. You don't start by trying to master Michelin star knife skills. You start by learning what an onion is, what a carrot is, and what a pan is for. You learn the concepts first. Okay, so we've got our new philosophy down. Now, let's actually put it into practice and build our bedrock. This is where the real work starts, and it all begins with this C# language. This part is absolutely non-negotiable. This quote from the legendary instructor Bob Tabor, it's everything. Seriously, anyone can memorize code syntax. A computer could do it. What makes you a developer, what makes you valuable, is understanding the why. Why choose this data type? Why use this kind of loop? Why structure the code this way? When you focus on the why, your code stops being a fragile house of cards and starts becoming robust and intentional. You hear this term, .NET Framework, and it just sounds huge and complex, doesn't it? But let's demystify it right now. Think of it like this. The class library is just a massive pre-stocked toolbox. Need to work with text? There's a tool for that. Need to connect to the internet? There's a tool for that. Then you have the runtime, or the CLR. That's like the workshop manager. It takes your code, your blueprints, and makes sure everything runs smoothly and safely in the workshop. That's really it, a toolbox and a manager. And this right here perfectly illustrates the power of a good analogy. You could give someone a dry technical definition of a variable, or you could just say, it's a bucket. It's a named bucket in the computer's memory that holds stuff for you. Which one are you going to remember? Exactly. Building your understanding with simple, powerful ideas like this is the absolute fastest way to learn. This little 4-step process, this is the heartbeat of all software development. It doesn't matter if it's Hello World or a massive enterprise system, it's always this loop. And let's be totally honest, step 4 is where you're going to spend most of your time. But here's the secret. Debugging isn't failure. It's the whole point. That's where all the real learning happens, when you're figuring out why something broke. Okay, so you've got your C# foundation. You can write instructions, you know how they work, and you know how to fix them when they break. So, now what? Now we make our application do something useful. This is where we connect it to the rest of the world through data and APIs. Let me give you a better way to think about this. Imagine your application is a really busy chef in a restaurant. The database is a massive, kind of chaotic pantry in the back. The chef shouldn't have to run into that pantry every single time they need an ingredient. It's messy, it's inefficient. The repository pattern is like hiring a dedicated pantry assistant. The chef just says, hey, I need 5 tomatoes, and the assistant knows exactly where to find them and how to get them. It keeps the kitchen clean and organized. So how does our pantry assistant actually get the ingredients? Well, you've got two main choices. Entity Framework is like an automated luxury golf cart. It's super comfortable, it does most of the driving for you, and you get where you're going with very little effort. Dapper, on the other hand, is a high-performance manual race car. You are in complete control, you feel every bump in the road, and it is unbelievably fast. But you better know how to drive stick. Both get the job done, but they offer a very, very different ride. All right, so we're writing clean code, we're talking to our data, but a bunch of well-organized files doesn't automatically create a great application. Now we have to zoom out. It's time to stop thinking like a coder and start thinking like an architect. Let's make this assembly line analogy really concrete. Imagine you go to a secure website. Your request first hits a middleware station that just logs, hey, a request came in at this time. Then it moves down the line to the next station, the authentication middleware, which asks, is this person logged in? If you are, it passes you to the next station that actually gets your data. But if you're not, it kicks you right over to the login page. See, each piece has one specific job, and together they create a secure, orderly process. So when do you use middleware and when do you use a filter? Think of it this way. Middleware is the main security guard at the front door of the entire office building. They check everyone coming in, no matter which office they're going to. Action filters, though, are like the special keycard scanners on the door to the CEO's office. They only apply to that one specific room. So you use middleware for your global rules and filters for your very specific ones. Now, this quote might sound a little academic, but here's what it really means. Think of your application's core business logic, the actual heart of what it does, as a patient on an operating table. The database, the user interface, the web framework, those are all just life support machines plugged into the patient. The dependency rule simply says that you should be able to unplug and swap out any of those machines without killing the patient. Your core logic should never know or care about the details of the machine. You've designed a brilliant system. It's architected beautifully. It runs perfectly on your laptop. But code that only runs on your machine is basically just a hobby. To be a professional, you have to ship it. It's time to share what you've built with the world. These 4 things, they're not just nice to haves. They're the language the professional development teams speak. I mean, could you imagine trying to build a skyscraper if no one on the crew knew how to read the blueprints or use a power drill? That's what it's like coding without these tools. A junior developer who shows up on day 1 already speaking this language is instantly 10 times more valuable. So now you have the tools to build and deploy your very first application. We've come to the final and, honestly, the most crucial part of this whole journey. The technologies we've talked about, they're going to change. But the mindset of a great developer, that's timeless. So let's bring it all home. What's the secret? It's this. See the whole forest before you start studying a single tree. Understand the why before you obsess over the how. Play the long game, because consistency beats short bursts of intensity every single time. And please give yourself permission to be a beginner. Your first app will not be perfect, and that is the whole point. The goal is just to finish something, learn from it, and move on to the next thing. So this isn't just a checklist of things to learn. It's a strategy. It's a whole new way to navigate a really complex world with confidence and purpose, without all the burnout. We've given you the map, we've given you the compass. The only thing left to do is to take that first step on your own adventure. So I'll ask you one more time.